Ever wondered what it is we talk about in our live Scale Your Store trainings? Well, today I'm going to pull back the curtains and give you a little bit of a sneak peek. Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast, where I, Selena Knight, share strategies, interview retail revolutionaries, and delve into the minds of e-commerce experts to help you grow a profitable, independent retail or e-commerce business. If you're stuck in a rut, or if you feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've overachieved all of the things that you've set out to and are wondering what to do next, or how do I even make this better? I know that you're going to love today's episode. If you're stuck in a rut, feel like business is way harder than it should be, or you've achieved all of the things that you set out to and are wondering what next, or how do I even make this better? Then I know that you're going to love today's episode. Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. I'm Selena Knight, the retail strategist, and today I am going to do something a little bit different and take you behind the scenes and show you the kinds of things we talk about inside of our Scale Your Store bonus trainings. Now, it is the pointy end of the year. Just a couple of more weeks until 2021 wraps up. It's ridiculously crazy when it comes to retail and e-commerce, and I'm sure that whilst you would love some extra strategies on how to get people to buy, you probably don't have your usual amount of time to sit down and listen to a full-blown episode. I mean, generally they go for what, 25 to 45 minutes? Right now, you are busy. So I wanted to grab this little snippet out of one of the live trainings that we did inside of Scale Your Store. These are the bonus trainings that you get along with the Q&A sessions. Now, I'm not going to share the Q&A part in today's episode, but I am going to give you a little chunk, a little no-brainer strategy for how to get people to buy that we covered in our sales pillar training. I hope you love it. I hope you can use it. And if you would like more trainings like this, make sure you head over to scaleyourstore.com and check out the full Scale Your Store program. Okay, let's go behind the scenes in this Scale Your Store sales pillar training.
I'm going to go through maybe 3, 4, 5, haven't counted them all, surefire ways that you can actually secure a sale. And you can do these both online and in-store. We can talk about how that's being done. So what I think it's really important to remember is that every single day we have like a gazillion decisions that we have to make from, what time, and some of these are conscious and some of them are subconscious. So everything from like, is it time to brush my teeth? What should I wear today? What am I going to make for breakfast? What am I going to make for dinner? If you're me, don't forget to take it out of the freezer so you can defrost it. Through to all the business decisions that we make, the decisions about our kids, the decisions about our family, did I put the garbage out? Like, there is so much going on in our brains that you've probably made, 1,000 decisions before lunchtime. And this is not just business owners, right? This is every single day people have to make these subconscious and conscious decisions. And in today's society, we are totally overloaded with information. Like, it is literally a habit for people to pick up their phone and, I better turn mine on silent, and be, flicking through it just because they don't know, like they're so used to having phones in their hand that it's just like a second nature. And so what can happen is when we have to make like real decisions, we can end up being completely paralyzed about commitment. So not that, is it time to brush my teeth? Should I have coffee or tea? But when you're, and say, I said coffee and tea, but actually, if you're going to a cafe, these are the kinds of decisions that can actually paralyze you. Do I want coffee? Do I want a latte? Do I want to have breakfast? Do I want to get a muffin? Like, there are so many things that we have to make decisions with. Quite often, people just don't make a decision at all. So I don't know about you, but if I go to a restaurant and there's like, I think at the Cheesecake Factory in America, there's like 20 pages in the menu that I literally only order one of two same things. I either have the burger, the gluten-free burger, or I'll have a salad. And so depending on whether it's lunch or whether it's dinner, I only ever choose from those two things because my brain cannot process what it is I might like. And so this happens, right? We fall back into the default. So two things happen. You either just go with what you've always gotten, or, and that's a conversation for another time, maybe I might be able to squeeze into this one, or you just don't make a decision at all, right? So people will come to your website, they'll come into your store, there's so much weighing on their mind that they actually walk out with nothing. And so what we're going to do in today's training is talk about ways that you can overcome that like indecision barrier. And you'll have to bear with me because my hay fever is absolutely atrocious at the moment. I've just taken a whole bunch of medication to hopefully get through this. So when it comes to handing over cash, customers will quite often be hesitant, especially if it's a big ticket item. And when I say big ticket, that could just be $50, right? It doesn't have to be a $500 or $5,000 thing. It could just be $50 for them. And so it's like, oh, should I get that? Should I get that? Should I not get that? Will it be right? And it's just all in the too hard basket. And so when you put these external influences on to whatever is happening in somebody's day already, and this is one of the real reasons that I think you are insane if you don't have abandoned cart and retargeting, because life just gets in the way, right? You need to be able to get back in front of the customer. But when you are bombarding your customers with information, and if that information is the exact same as every other single retailer, so they go into the supermarket and they see a brand and then they come to you and you can't tell them anything different about that brand, or you've got the same copy and paste description on your website, you haven't given them a reason to actually go ahead and buy. And so either fear creeps in, especially if it's one of those bigger purchases, or they just default to, I'm just going to buy it from the supermarket, same brand, because that's my safe space, right? That default to the same safe space doesn't just happen for business owners, it happens for people as well. So conquering the indecision barrier. We have to break down those barriers and we have to create a zone of security for your customers. And here is how you're going to do it. The first one that I love, that most of you will probably be like, oh, how do I do that? It's not my stuff, is to offer a guarantee. Now, retailers typically shy away from offering guarantees because they think it's going to cost them a lot of money. But here's the thing. If you truly believe in the products that you sell, which I'm pretty sure you do, right? Like if you're here inside of Scale Your Store, you're not drop shipping shit from Alibaba, right? You've gone and looked at the products, you've looked at the suppliers, you're confident that they're right for your customers. And so if you're confident of your decisions, then and of your service, then realistically, not many people are ever going to claim on that guarantee. And if you're too scared to offer a guarantee, you have to take a step back and analyze your customer experience. And we're going to talk about that in the customer pillar up next. And we'll also talk about, we talk about that whole customer experience in customer marketing and impact. But you'll jump into customers this week. But if you can't actually feel confident about a guarantee, then the answer to that is why. Like, do you not believe in your products? Do you not believe in your service? Like, which part of the journey is actually lacking and what can you do to fix it? So don't be scared that because it's not your product, you can't offer a guarantee. So I'm going to share with you one of these businesses that I think have done a completely amazing job of conquering this guarantee barrier. And as a result, the owners of this company and like the CEO of this company, they are on every single stage at every single retail event because they talk about customer experience and how they can do it. So let me just share my screen. Here we go. So it's a company in Australia called Miss Amara, and let me just go back to their homepage to show you what they sell. So they sell rugs online. Like realistically, it's probably one of those businesses that you're like, oh my gosh, like how much does it cost to actually ship it out to somebody? Like the returns process, there's probably a 60% chance that people aren't going to like it. So looking at their website, a couple of things that they offer to get people over the indecision barrier is over here, free styling advice from interior professionals. Now, I don't know if they've got interior stylists on their team or if they've just, trained their team well, but straight away, if I'm going to, I don't know, is there like a Rugs Online? Let's have a quick look. Rugs Online Sydney. I'm just making this up. Let's see who comes up. Rugs Direct. So Rugs Direct is 60% off, new quick ship, like none of these things, right? 20% off. What these people are selling themselves on is discount. So the difference between a company like this, quality rugs at sale prices. So you're looking for cheap if you come here. When you go to Miss Amara, you get free styling advice. Try it at home, risk-free returns, and find a rug with our virtual stylist. So you can do like a little quiz thing. Here are things that are ready to dispatch. So all straight away, you can see that these people kind of know what they're doing, like they specialize in rugs, but also that they're more in it for you than they're in it for them. So Rugs Online are just like, here's some cheap shit that we're going to sell you. Miss Amara is, let's find the perfect rug for you. So if you go to their return section, which is like in the middle of the top of the fold, like it's probably I reckon it's probably the highest rated page that they've got. How does it work? We think that the experience of buying a rug sucks. Ugh, aren't showrooms just the worst? They are, because I don't know about you, but rug salesmen are like used car salesmen. Like whenever I've been there, just like, leave me alone so I can actually just look in peace. And then I feel like they're judging my decisions. Anyway, so we want to change the way that people buy them. You can only visualize so much. So even with AI, like I know brands like Kmart now have AI for some of their bigger products, and it is getting bigger. And look, that is one way that you can conquer the indecision barrier. But again, it's only so much, and it's a big commitment. Like, we're talking rugs, hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. We believe that everyone should be able to buy their dream rug. And if you're not completely in love, well, you can send it back. So we'll pick it up from wherever you are in Australia, get it delivered back to our warehouse, and we will pay for it all. Here's the process. Shop for a rug, see, touch and feel the rug. If you don't love it, send it back. You'll get a complete refund. Blah, blah, blah. Here's all the stuff. Here's all the places that we've been featured. As a customer, you can't tell me that you would be more confident spending the extra hundreds of dollars buying from a company like this, because if you get it wrong, you don't have to stick whatever you bought on Facebook Marketplace, right? You can actually just send it back, and there's a pretty good chance that with all the bits and pieces in between, you're probably going to end up with the right rug. So the question for you is, how can you offer a guarantee in your business? Right? It could be, if you don't like it, send it back. It could be if we've helped you match something. So maybe it's a more personalized guarantee. If you've had help from our stylist and you don't like the products that you've sent, you can send them back, or you can bring them back. Obviously, online, people want free returns. So if you're going to offer something like this, running back to the money pillar, you have to build it into your price. But skipping to like my last thing that's on the list, which is, let me just scroll down. Money is irrelevant when it makes you feel good. All right, too often we stick our biases onto our customers. Caitlin, I'm talking to you. Too often we think that our customers want the cheapest thing available, or they want the biggest bargain. And when you're used to shopping at wholesale prices, trust me, it pains me to pay full retail. I mean, I have trade accounts. This whole property has been renovated on trade accounts. The concept of paying retail hurts my brain. So you have to take that away, because your customer's experience is not your experience. So money is irrelevant when it makes you feel good. If you can conquer the indecision barrier, if you can make people feel safe and comfortable in their decisions, they will pay for it. So in our store, we used to manufacture amber teething beads. So we were like one of the biggest wholesalers in Australia. We had our 2 companies in Lithuania that made them for us, and we would give a 2-year guarantee on them. Now, I didn't get a guarantee from the company that they would last for 2 years, but I knew that the small amount that a bead might break or a clasp might break, the small amount of money that would cost me to be the only person who offered a guarantee in the whole country, then I could charge nearly double what other people were doing. Because people were like, well, if something happens, I can send it back. And that, remember right back at the beginning, I said you have to build this safe, comfortable place for your customers, because otherwise they'll just default back to safe and comfortable, right? You want you to be safe and comfortable, and that can come with paying more. So if you want to offer a guarantee, which is if you don't like it, you can ship it back, don't put your prices up by $2, right across the board. Yes, you're going to be more expensive, but if your competitors aren't offering this kind of guarantee, then why not? Like, people will buy. Like, you cannot put your values on your customers. Because I know for me that I will always pay extra if I can send something back if I don't like it. If I have a choice of paying a bit cheaper and I'm not 100% sure that that's, like, I haven't bought the thing before, I will always pay that bit extra to know that I can send it back. So yeah, skipping forward back to the money is irrelevant when it makes you feel good. There is a difference between a need and a want, right? Need is something we have to survive: food, water, shelter. But wants make us feel good. A nice rug. You don't need a nice rug, but you might want a nice rug. So when we're talking about needs and wants are the things that we consume or buy because they're going to make us feel better. Now, that could just be, my can of Coke Zero. I don't drink coffee, so I love the little pep that it gives me out of the caffeine. That's a want. But it makes me feel good when I have it. It doesn't matter if I buy it from the supermarket or if I buy it from 7-Eleven. I know I will pay more at 7-Eleven for it. But if you haven't already worked it out, the products that you're selling are completely irrelevant. And we're going to talk about this in the impact pillar. What you are really selling are feelings. And it doesn't matter whether it is, and we talk about this in the marketing pillar as well, it doesn't matter if it's convenience or luxury or feeling healthy or being strong or getting the kids out of your hair. The feelings that they evoke in your customers are what your customers are looking for. They actually don't give a shit about the product. All they care about is how they're going to feel after they have consumed, in whatever way that is, whatever you sell them. Okay, so first one is offer a guarantee. Second one is remember that money is irrelevant when it makes us feel good. The next thing I want you to think about is letting customers try before they buy. And you can do this in so many ways. I know that, I think Elizabeth used to do this in her store as well. I'm not 100% sure. But we used to sell products where, like baby carriers, they're such an individual thing that if I'm going to spend $400 on one, I really want to know that it's right. So we would offer a testing situation where we had one available, which we didn't pay for. We asked the supplier to provide it for that reason. Some of them actually gave us one that had demo written across it. In some cases, we may have paid like wholesale price, so maybe 20-30% of the actual product. But when we explained to the suppliers why we wanted it, it was a no-brainer. It was like, of course we want people to be able to try it out. So people would pay for the product up front, they would have it for like the weekend or 3 or 4 days. They'd sign a little contract, but they'd already paid for it. If they didn't like it, they would bring it back and get their money back. If they did like it, they would bring it back and we would swap it for whatever color in a brand new one. Now, that's just one way that you can look at letting people try before they buy. But I also know that simple things like free samples make a huge difference. And I was like, I just can't reach it, but on my little table over there, I bought some stuff from Lana from Adore Beauty. And one of their big things is you get 2 free samples with every order. And I think actually when I went through checkout, it let me pick my free samples. Now, I can guarantee you, Adore Beauty are not paying for those samples, right? If anything, the brands are paying Adore Beauty to put those samples into customers' orders. So there was a hair treatment in there. My hair's probably looking a little bit fancy today, which I probably never, ever would have purchased, but it smells amazing. And I can't even tell you the brand. It's in a little green tube, but it smells amazing. I was like, actually, I would put this in my hair just because it smells good. I would never have looked at that product on the website. And one of the reasons I chose it was I was trying to choose things that I would never normally buy. So that is something else you can go back to your suppliers. So it might be, a free sample of sunscreen. It could be a moisturizer. It could be a little travel version of something. Like, it doesn't just have to be cosmetics. It works in lots of different things. One of the other products we used to sell loads of were reusable wipes. And so one of the companies gave us some that were a little bit imperfect. You would never have known the dye batch didn't come out perfect. But when we just popped one into somebody's order, people were amazing and they would come and buy it again. So there you got a couple of options. You've got, the honest try before you buy. And I guess that's kind of the guarantee as well that Miss Amara have. You've got the free samples, but also having those tester products in your store. So, if you've got a food product, can people sample it? It doesn't mean they can stick their hands in it. Maybe they can just ask. I know that the Gelatissimo, you can have a free taste and they'll scoop out a little bit and give you a free taste. If you've got products, especially things like cosmetics or scents, like perfumes, any sort of candle type, like anything that people are going to want to smell or touch or feel, you should have one out. And I was just looking the other day, I sent Ed on a little bit of a shopping mission because there's like no shops here in Cowra. And I was asking him to FaceTime and I said to him, is there one of those out of the box? Because I really wanted to see what it looks like. And there wasn't. But that's the other thing is I know that in our store with our wooden toys, we always had one on display because people want to be able to see it and touch it and feel it. So if you've got a bricks and mortar store, this is one of the things people will pay extra for. This is one of the reasons you can charge more than someone who has it online. Now, I know one of the biggest questions that you guys are going to say is, well, people might just go and buy it cheaper online. If that's the case, they're not your ideal customer. Let them bloody well do it. Because your customer is the kind of person who, the customer you want, is the one that actually comes in and just wants to be able to take it home, or just wants the experience of having you to be able to help them, to ask them the right questions. I can't remember if I talk about the rule of threes inside of the sales pillar. If not, tell me and I could talk about that again. But they want you to be able to solve the problem for them, and that's what they're paying for. So free samples, so try before you buy, free samples, testers, letting people actually test stuff, right through to letting people take it home and bring it back. Like things like cushions. I know one of my previous clients used to do that with cushions. So as long as the cushions still had the tags on, you could take a whole bunch of cushions home and just keep the ones that you wanted and then bring the other ones back. I mean, you could probably do that at somewhere like Kmart, but the whole experience for her, it was bring a picture in of your room and then they would kind of go through like what their style was, and then they would curate a range for them to go out to take home with them. All right, so far we've got guarantee, we've got money is irrelevant when it makes you feel good, we've got try before you buy, and the next one is letting customers hire a product. So it's kind of in that similar vein to trying before you buy, but if you allow a customer to hire a product, and this quite often works for companies that have things like baby prams, some furniture items, anything that is like a big, like the rugs sort of thing, anything like that, where people can actually hire it. Decor items work really good. Things that works really well. That client I was just thinking about, she lets people hire for 4 weeks to stage their homes, and they pay something like 50%. So it's quite a decent amount, but they know that everything is curated for them and they can just bring it back, right? Rather than having to buy it. So is that something that you can do? Again, it doesn't work for every single person. And I'm not saying you should do all of these, but what I am saying is when you create a space, the guarantee, I think you should definitely do. But if you can create a space where you can overcome the objections of your customer, that is what customers will pay more for. So I know that I did the hiring thing in my store and we had 100% conversion rate. Every single person who hired would come back and buy. Just make sure if you go ahead and do that, that your policy is very transparent and what the expectations are with things like how the product's supposed to come back, change of mind, how long the time frame is, all that kinds of stuff. So also you're going to end up, if you do this, you'll more than likely end up at some point where somebody goes against your your contract or your policy. So just make sure that you actually have a system in place and get feedback on why that hasn't actually turned out what happened, so that, for example, if you're letting people hire stuff to stage their home, one of the questions you would ask is, are you living in the home? And if the answer is yes, then you know that there's a pretty good chance that it may not come back in original condition. And that might be one of your requirements, is that the house is not lived in on a day-to-day basis. So it just allows you to create a system as you move forward so you don't end up really pissed off. All right, the next one I've got is don't take no for an answer. And I called it this because my team worked out really, really quickly, and still to this day, when Sal says no, it just means no right now. It doesn't mean no in a couple of hours. It doesn't mean no tomorrow. It doesn't mean no next week. It just means she actually hasn't had time to sit down and think about it. And once she's done that, then the answer might be yes. So never take no for an answer. It's super, super important for you. That means that you should always follow up with your customer. Now, online, that is going to be your Klaviyo flows, like you're following up Klaviyo flows, whether that's retargeting based on a certain product, whether that's abandoning cart, whether that's your sunset flow, all those kinds of things, re-engagement flows. You should never, ever think that just because your customer says no, it means no. It could just be, if it's in e-commerce, life got in the way. Like, I don't know how many things I've looked at buying for this house that I have completely forgotten about, and it doesn't mean I don't want them. I just got so many things going on in my brain that unless it pops back up in front of my face, I'm probably not going to buy it. So if you have a bricks and mortar store, or if you have a chat function on your website, and if you do have chat function, I love the program Gorgeous. It's like support ticket as well as chat, and it integrates with Shopify if that's the platform that you've got. And it means you can actually see customers' orders and you can make recommendations based on what they purchased in the past. That's another story. But you should always follow up, whether it's with a phone call or an email, to ensure that you, like, no is no. Realistically, it could just simply have been that life got in the way. It was a really big decision for them. And sort of part B of that is, and again, this works really well if you've got a bricks and mortar store, You can certainly do this with an e-commerce store if you're using that kind of more interactive chat function, is offer a quote, right? Like most retail businesses don't do this. Like in your point of sale, you have the option generally to put a quote, or you might have an order that goes in as pending or something like that. Whatever your system looks like, giving someone like a physical or an email copy, one, it gives you a paper trail for you to follow up. But two, it means they've kind of got it in their hands to remind them about what it is that they asked for. And this is also a great opportunity to do upsells and cross sells, because you can put all of it on the quote. And we used to do that. I'll just put all of it onto a quote for you. You just cross off the things you don't want, right? And you can always just give us a call. It's just sitting here in the computer. Just read out that number. We can take off the things that you don't want, or we can add the things that you want. People aren't getting that if they go to a department store, right? The same thing happens, and I don't ever see this on e-commerce sites. So this is definitely something that you could implement, especially in that chat function, is can I just send you a quote? Or can I just, send you some details about that, some more details about that product? That in and of itself is going to allow you to charge more, because it's that old-fashioned service that people want. And again, you're conquering that indecision barrier. So that, like, if you aren't doing that kind of thing, if you aren't doing a quote or some kind of email automated follow-up, you are losing money. But also sometimes it is quite simple as picking up the damn phone, right? That for a customer, or you know what, I'm even going to go so far and say in this day and age, text message works fine. If you're in Australia, we've finally got SMS inside of Klaviyo. Like, you can send out a personalized email to someone. There's also, I should put this I'll put it into the group because I don't know the top words of, like, it's called the 7-word email. It also works in SMSs, but it's something along the lines of, it might be more than 7 because I haven't thought about this for a long time. Hey, Renee, just wondering if you still need help choosing X, or just wondering if you still need help with the perfect gift. Or you know what, you could be generic. You could automate this thing and say, hey, name, just wondering if you still need help with your purchase, right? Like, you could be really generic. All that's going to do is prompt somebody to be like, oh, actually, yes, I do. I'll reply back to that text. Oh, I was looking, I'm wondering if you had it in blue. Right. These are next level things when it comes to sales that your competitors probably aren't doing. They're not going to cost you much money at all. And especially a lot of this is automated. And realistically, you can charge more, right? You don't become about competing on price, which we talk about in all the next pillars. You become the destination store. You become the safe, comfortable place where people know that they might pay a little bit extra, but they know they're going to get quality. They know they're going to get service. They know they're going to get that guarantee. They know they're going to get that specialist advice in whatever shape or form that looks like. And just to make it really, really clear, what I'm not talking about here is some dodgy ass chat function with an outsourced VA that has no idea about your product. Like, that drives me freaking insane. I'm looking at night. Hey, I'm just wondering if you have this in blue. Please contact our store after 9 a.m. tomorrow and they'll be able to tell you. What the fuck are you here for? Like you just make me angrier, right? If you're going to have customer service people, train them on your products, train them on your brand. You'll work out how to do that in the impact pillar. But there you go. These are ways to conquer the indecision barrier. So what did we have? We had offer a guarantee. Money is irrelevant if it makes you feel good. Let people try before they buy. Think about hiring products out, and don't take no for an answer. So that was 5.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selinaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selenaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.